1:30 a.m. A silver SUV sits parked the wrong way on a quiet residential street. Security footage shows her stepping out, locking the door, and walking off into the darkness. No screams. No one following. No one returning. 5 days later, a body is found nearly 30 miles away. Where did DaCara Thompson go that night, and who was the last person to see her alive?
This is a good young woman who wanted to do good for her community.
Have you seen DaCara?
A heartbreaking end to the search for 19-year-old DaCara Thompson. Her family desperately looked for answers for weeks.
I want my baby back. I just simply want my daughter back.
Police found Thompson's body on Route 50 near Interstate 97 in the Annapolis area. According to charging documents WJZ Investigates obtained, the suspect, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, threw her body off a highway bridge into the South River. She had skull and facial fractures. Her family identified her through tattoos.
At this time, there are no additional suspects. However, this investigation is ongoing.
Thompson, who lived with her dad, disappeared after going out to get gas. She sent him this text.
I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night.
The 19-year-old is seen on surveillance video leaving her SUV behind in Hyattsville. According to charging documents, she approached the suspect's GMC Yukon.
There are nights when we lock the doors, turn on the porch light, and think, everything is fine. But sometimes, that sense of safety is just a thin layer hiding something wrong that's quietly slipping out of sight and out of control. A young woman left home like she always did, only this time, she never came back. No screams, no final call. Just a car abandoned on a quiet street, her belongings still inside, and a phone missing, as if it had taken the last trace of her life with it. Her name was DaCara Thompson, 19 years old. A daughter, a friend, a piece of the family that couldn't be replaced. No one expected that an ordinary August night would become a turning point they could never undo. She disappeared without a sound, and when she was found, if it was truly her, all that remained was a lifeless body in a strange field, far from where she once lived, once laughed, once dreamed of a future. The incident took place in Maryland. It began like a typical missing person case, a worried family, friends sharing her photo, and police stepping in. But then, piece by piece, things stopped adding up. The camera captured a strange moment. The location where her car was found threw every assumption off track. And when her body was discovered somewhere completely different, a bigger question began to rise. Where did DaCara go, and who was the last person to see her alive? Don't forget to like and subscribe to uncover more haunting, tragic stories, and leave a comment to let me know where you're watching from. DaCara Thompson, or Coco, as some close to her affectionately called her, was a young woman living in Lanham, Prince George's County, Maryland. At 19, she wasn't someone famous on social media, nor a name you'd hear on the news. But to her parents, she was everything. Their only daughter, quiet, respectful, and always trying to keep peace in the family. Her life was quiet. No signs of trouble, no involvement in controversial groups, no public conflicts with anyone. Each day, she lived like any other young woman, chatting with friends, occasionally posting photos on Instagram, sometimes helping her mother around the house, and always texting if she was running late. That's why, when she went missing, her family immediately felt that something was very wrong. DaCara didn't live alone. She still lived with her parents, a common thing for many young people trying to find their path after high school. Her family wasn't wealthy, but they provided a stable home. Both of her parents worked hard, lived simply, and made sure their daughter never lacked anything. To them, DaCara was their greatest hope, and losing her without a trace became their deepest heartbreak. In recent months, according to family members, DaCara wasn't involved in any complicated relationships. She had dated a few people before, but no one stood out as a major concern when she went missing. Police reviewed her list of friends, those she kept in touch with by phone and on social media, but no individual raised immediate red flags. Everything was scattered pieces of information, not enough to form a clear picture. Neighbors of the Thompson family described DaCara as a polite young woman. They said she always greeted people as she passed by, never caused trouble, never stayed out late, and never showed any behavior that made adults in the neighborhood worry. To the community, her disappearance was a shock, not just because of the personal loss, but because it shattered the sense of safety everyone thought they were living in. And that's exactly what makes this case so unsettling. A young woman with no known troubles, raised in a good family, living in a quiet neighborhood suddenly disappears as if she never existed. No reason, no warning, no goodbye. The deeper people look into DaCara's story, the more they realize that it's the absolute normalcy of it all. That's the most frightening part. Before DaCara disappeared, there were no clear signs that she was in any serious trouble, but like in so many other cases, it was the nothing seemed wrong that left people the most disturbed. When everything appears normal, we tend to overlook the little signs, small details that, if pieced together, could form a chain of questions we never thought to ask.
60 seconds with the car.
Alright, what's your hometown? Where are you from?
Maryland,
Alright, when's your birthday?
August 8th.
Alright, what's your favorite color?
Pink,
Okay, what's your dream occupation?
real estate.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Mean people.
I don't like mean people either. What's your favorite artist?
It started with the moment she left home. On the night of the 21st of August, DaCara stepped out, telling her parents she was going to meet a friend and would be back later that night. She didn't seem rushed. She didn't look worried. She didn't bring a bag or extra clothes. The only thing she took with her, the only thing believed to have left the car with her, was her phone. Her family began to worry when morning approached, and DaCara still hadn't come home. She had never stayed out all night without checking in. The fact that she wasn't answering texts or calls made her parents immediately feel that something was wrong. By the next
Thompson,
morning,
who lived with her
when there was
dad,
still no
disappeared after
contact,
going out to
they
get
officially
gas.
reported her
She sent
missing
him
to the
this
police.
text.
I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night.
Later, surveillance footage from a neighborhood in Hyattsville showed the young woman stepping out of her car at around 1:30 a.m. She was dressed normally, with no signs of being forced. What caught the attention of investigators was the car's position parked facing the wrong direction on the street, in a residential area where DaCara had no close friends or known contacts. No one could explain why she was there at that hour. The SUV was locked securely. Inside were her purse, wallet, and personal belongings, everything intact. There were no signs of struggle or resistance. But the phone, the only item not left behind, had also gone silent. Its last ping came from the Hyattsville area, not far from where the car was found. On social media, DaCara didn't leave a final post, no goodbye message, no hint that something was wrong. But a few friends later said that recently she seemed less engaged, quieter, and sometimes slower to respond to messages. On their own, those details felt minor, but once she vanished without a trace, people began to piece them together. And in that silence, the time between her last words, "I'll be back," and the moment her car was found, what really happened? Who did she meet? And why did it end this way? Her silver SUV was found the next day in Hyattsville, parked along a quiet street. When police and family arrived to inspect it, they found the car securely locked. No signs of forced entry, no broken glass, no damage. All of her personal items, wallet, bag, Idaho, were still inside. It suggested that DaCara hadn't planned to be gone long, and that she wasn't robbed or taken by force when she left the vehicle. A home surveillance camera nearby captured DaCara stepping out of her car at 1:30 a.m. She walked alone, didn't look around, showed no signs of panic or urgency. But that's exactly what made it all more confusing. Why would a young woman leave home in the middle of the night, drive to an unfamiliar neighborhood, lock her car and walk off into the dark, alone? Her family turned to social media to ask for help. Posts with DaCara's photo spread quickly. Friends, acquaintances, even strangers began sharing the information, hoping someone had seen her. But the more people knew, the more pressure the family felt. Theories started to surface. Some said she went on a date. Others believed she was trying to get away from something. No one was certain, because no one really knew what happened in those final hours. Prince George's County Police began tracking DaCara's phone, working with digital forensics to analyze her location data and call history. But the phone powered off just a few hours after she left home, making it difficult to pinpoint her last known location. Investigators also reviewed traffic cameras along the route from Lanham to Hyattsville, looking for any suspicious vehicles or anyone who might have followed her. Nothing led to a breakthrough. Meanwhile, the family held on to hope. They printed flyers, posted them everywhere, knocked on doors, and asked neighbors if anyone had seen their daughter. But what came back was silence. No one saw anything. No one heard anything. No one knew where DaCara had gone after that final moment caught on camera. What began as a simple missing person case started to take a darker turn. People began to ask, was this still just a girl who lost her way, or had something more sinister happened, hidden in the shadows? Leads slowly dried up, while her family's fear kept growing. And then, when no one expected it, a phone call from far away changed everything.
Was last seen on August 22nd when she told her father that she was going out before leaving her Hyattsville home and never returned. Our Lionel Donovan is live in Hyattsville where that vigil is taking place right now. Lionel?
Good evening, Larry. Well, I want to show you the vigil. It just wrapped up right now, but as you can see, more than 100 people showed up in this parking lot, gathering together, hoping to get the word out to get DaCara back home safely. Now, I just want to also take you down the street. We're here on Riggs Road right now, but down the street over at Jasmine Terrace, that is where DaCara's car was found. Her parents were able to find it by tracking DaCara's phone. When they got there, they say they found her purse with keys, her license, and bank cards, but DaCara herself was nowhere to be found. I spoke with DaCara's aunt off camera, and she describes her as a quiet but kind-hearted young woman who's very close to her family. Now, DaCara's father says he last heard from her at 11:50 p.m. the night she disappeared, when he texted her that he was going to bed and that he loved her. He got a message from DaCara's phone saying that she was out, but that she returned soon. Prince George's County Police say investigators are actively looking into her disappearance. Now, at the vigil, community members listened as faith leaders prayed for DaCara's safe return, but those closest to her say they were very encouraged to see so many people show up for her.
It's a good feeling to know that the community is so supportive. Her mom has always been so supportive to me. My daughter, Teray, has stressed to me from the very beginning, you know, Ma, she would be there for you, so make sure you're there for her. So it's a good feeling to see so many people out here wearing their pink and pink roses, and it's a good feeling to see the support and love of the community.
Now, Prince George's County Police is calling on anyone with any information to come forward as soon as possible, because that information could be the key to reuniting this family. But for now, we're live in Hyattsville. Lionel Donovan, WUSA 9.
And no doubt so many of us are hoping for a safe return home for that young woman. Lionel, thank you.
On Sunday afternoon, the 27th of August, 5 days after DaCara Thompson was reported missing, a call came in to Maryland State Police. It had nothing to do with the missing persons case in Prince George's County. A driver on Route 50, passing through Annapolis, reported a broken-down vehicle sitting on the shoulder with no one inside. 2 state troopers were dispatched to the scene. They assumed it was just another disabled vehicle, one of hundreds they responded to each year along that stretch of road. But as they approached, one of them noticed something unusual beyond the grassy shoulder. Not the car, but something lying still in the brush, not far from the edge of the road. They moved closer, and then they stopped. In the waist-high grass, under the harsh late-afternoon sun, was the body of a woman. No response, no movement. Signs showed the body had been there for some time. No one knew how she got there, and no other vehicle nearby seemed connected to the scene. There was no identification. No one knew her name, but when the forensic team arrived at the scene, they saw a face that looked strikingly familiar. It looked just like the missing young woman from Lanham, DaCara Thompson. News of the body's discovery spread later that night, and within hours, suspicions quickly began to align, though no official confirmation had been made. Everything matched the missing person case: the age, the appearance, the hairstyle, and the most chilling detail of all, the girl had no ID and no phone on her. The section of Route 50 where the body was found was nearly 30 miles from where DaCara's car had been left, a distance impossible to walk in the dark, especially under normal circumstances. That raised a serious question. If she drove to Hyattsville and was last seen walking away at 1:30 a.m., then who took her all the way to Annapolis? Police conducted a thorough examination of the scene. There were no clear signs of struggle, no blood, no broken debris. The grass was partially trampled, but not enough to suggest a violent confrontation. That, in itself, was strange. The initial theory was that she had been brought there from another location. Her body was likely left during the night or early morning, then concealed by the roadside weeds until a passing driver noticed something unusual from a distance. That same night, Prince George's County Police were contacted. DaCara's family was notified. When reporters approached her parents for confirmation, they simply shook their heads. They didn't want to answer any questions. They couldn't, because no one is ever prepared for the moment they're faced with the possibility of losing their daughter without the chance to say goodbye. The body was taken for forensic examination that same night. Police had not yet made an official identification, but the family already knew. It was the moment they had feared most over the past 5 days, and now, that fear was no longer just a feeling. It had become real. The disappearance was no longer a search. It had become a case, one that needed answers. And the most unsettling part was this. Everyone who knew DaCara, neighbors, friends, even her own family, couldn't name a single person who might have done this to her. Not one. And that is what truly made people start to worry.
Illegally and is now subject to an ICE detainer. News 4's Darcy Spencer joins us live in Bowie, where that man was taken into custody. It is the news her parents, her community were hoping they would not receive. Darcy Spencer, bring us up to speed with what we know.
And that's right, Erica. You know, and this murder really shaken this Bowie community. Many just finding out this news today, this morning, this afternoon from us as we ask people questions in the community. That killing allegedly happened in the house right here behind me. I spoke to a woman who lives here. She asked to not be shown on camera, but she says she had no idea a crime had happened inside the house and that this suspect is her cousin. It was inside this house on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, inside this bedroom that investigators say 19-year-old DaCara Thompson was murdered. Neighbors are stunned that the missing teen investigation led to Bowie so tragically.
I was hoping for the best, but it was just, you know, deeply saddened to hear that it turned out this way, unfortunately.
The 19-year-old had been missing since August 20.
Immediately after the unidentified body was discovered in Annapolis, the entire investigation shifted to a new level. Maryland State Police quickly coordinated with investigators from Prince George's County to compare information and confirm the identity. They remained cautious and quiet, refusing to confirm anything publicly right away. But for those following the case closely, especially DaCara's family, nothing more needed to be said. Her parents were brought in to assist with the preliminary identification. They left the station without saying a word. When reporters approached them in the parking lot, the father's eyes were blank, and the mother simply shook her head like any word spoken aloud would shatter the last bit of strength she was holding on to. Meanwhile, social media became a sea of grief and remembrance. Photos of DaCara smiling brightly in better days spread alongside heartbreaking captions. Friends, neighbors, even strangers who had never met her wrote their goodbyes. To them, this was no longer just a missing person case. It was a shared sorrow, a loss that no one could fully explain. Police held a brief press conference, confirming they were awaiting forensic results to verify the identity. However, they also acknowledged this. The fact that the body was found in a completely different location from where the victim's car was discovered led them to believe this wasn't a case of someone simply getting lost or a routine accident. All possibilities were being considered, and nothing was being ruled out.
Butler Jr., the chief of the Bowie Police Department, Dwayne A. Preston, and the state's attorney for Prince George's County, Tara Jackson. I would also like to recognize Prince George's County DCAO Mel Powell.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank members of the media for showing sensitivity during the reporting of this case. We know there were questions that you had and questions that we couldn't answer due to the investigation being ongoing. On September 5th, detectives from the Prince George's County Police Department's Homicide Division developed probable cause.
However, They also admitted this. Finding the body in a completely different location from where the victim's car was found made them believe this wasn't a simple case of someone getting lost or a routine accident. Every possibility was on the table, and nothing was being ruled out. The investigation continues. The family waits in silence. And the community, though still unaware of the full truth, holds back a question that no one wants to say out loud. If this could happen to someone like DaCara, could it happen to any one of us? As soon as the body was transferred to the Maryland State Forensic Center, investigators focused all efforts on two primary tasks: confirming the identity and determining the cause of death. Within 48 hours, preliminary results were delivered to investigators in Prince George's County. All suspicions were now backed by scientific evidence. The body found off Route 50 was confirmed to be DaCara Thompson. The body showed no signs of severe decomposition, suggesting that DaCara may have died only a few days before she was found, which means the time between her disappearance and death might not have spanned the full 5 days as initially believed. Another critical detail: no suspicious vehicles were seen near the scene at the time the body was discovered. Traffic cameras along Route 50 captured a few passing cars, but none were linked to the girl. Police suspected that DaCara's body had been moved from another location, possibly during the night, and left there deliberately, as if someone wanted the story to end right there. Her phone data was partially recovered. The last message sent from the device was at 12:47 a.m., about 40 minutes before she was seen on camera in Hyattsville. The content wasn't suspicious, just a brief conversation with an old classmate, someone who has since been cleared of any involvement. The list of DaCara's recent connections was expanded and thoroughly reviewed. Police questioned everyone who had called or messaged her within the past month, but no one stood out as a direct suspect. There were no romantic disputes, no personal conflicts, and no prior signs of stalking or threats. At this stage, the investigation had no specific suspect. No trial was opened, no charges were filed. But that didn't mean the case was closed. Instead, DaCara's file was reclassified as an open investigation and prioritized among the cases requiring public assistance, until an unexpected development emerged. In September 2024, nearly 3 months after DaCara's body was found, Prince George's County Police arrested a 33-year-old man named Hugo Hernandez Mendez. He was an undocumented construction worker living illegally in the U.S. and had been linked to the area where DaCara's body was left. Police withheld most details, but confirmed that both forensic and digital evidence tied him directly to the scene. Hugo Hernandez Mendez was charged with first-degree murder and is currently being held without bail. As of now, no information has been released about his motive or whether he even knew DaCara at all. DaCara's family later issued a brief statement, expressing gratitude to law enforcement and the community for never giving up. "We finally have a piece of the truth, even if it hurts. DaCara deserved to know what happened, and justice deserves to be served."
Thank you to all of our public safety partners who are here with us today. But more importantly, I want to thank this community. When you found out that DaCara Thompson was missing, you answered the calls of her parents and her family.
The case is still awaiting trial, but now, at the very least, the fear and uncertainty have a name. From a disappearance with no clues, a body with no explanation, and weeks of deafening silence, the truth has slowly begun to surface. And hopefully, this time, that light will lead to justice. If this story shook you, please share it. Not just to remember DaCara, but to remind us all, anyone can become a victim, and no one should be forgotten in silence. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know where you're watching from.